As the industry for P&C starts to grow, we've got to ask the question is it a good time or should you start an insurance agency coming into 2025, going into 2026? Let's go over the pros and the cons, the options that you have available, and why there are some really good reasons you should look at doing this, and ultimately there's some really rough reasons why you may not want to be in this industry. If you look at some of the articles, the trends for the industry is growing rapidly. So from currently 2025 going into 2030, 2031, they're going to see a massive increase in growth in the personal lines insurance. Overall, the next 3 to 4 years, we're averaging about a 4 to 4.5% increase, which in a large industry already is pretty massive. So there's a lot of business that is growing into the industry on top of there's a lot of people exiting the industry. So as you start to grow your agency, you'll have opportunities to work with or even purchase other books that are starting to leave the industry. Or you get enough growth and you get enough reputation to where you don't need to purchase it, where customers are automatically going to you because people are leaving the industry. The other piece is there is rising demand in home insurance. The home insurance policies have grown rapidly. That's kind of a con as well, because the reason it's a bigger demand is because there's also a lot of problems getting insured in the homes. Insurance doesn't love homes right now. A lot of them are 60 plus years old. There's a lot of roof issues. There's a lot of weather related claims happening, and they're trying to self-protect what they have built over the last 10, 20 years going forward with some of these older homes. So they're a lot pickier with underwriting processes, but that means that people are looking, people are shopping more, trying to find companies that are a good fit. My personal policy has gone up over $1,000 from last year, went up another $400 this year, caused me to look at some options. Now I'm going to save $1,000. So even looking at my own policy that I've had for 4 or 5 years, it makes sense to look at other options. And there's other companies that are more competitive with the same product or a better product going forward. And if you have those carriers, which we'll talk about in a moment, you're going to have the winning strategy to move you forward. And the biggest thing that everyone talks about is commercial, which commercial is growing. There's a little bit of turmoil in there because there are a few issues with like the premiums and the rates, and the industry itself has slowly grown. It's grown less than it has before. So starting business is starting to happen more often. There's a lot of younger people getting into the industry. As far as any industry, in your buildings, you've got new CPAs, you've got new jobs, all these workman's comps, truck drivers, all of those things are the commercial industry. And those are the bigger premium amounts. You're going to see those larger policies to where you'd write a home and auto. You might get a $5,000 account. You write one guy that drives a truck, that's a $12,000 account. So there is a big difference. And there's also, you got to factor in longevity, all of those things. But the industry is still growing, even though it's a little bit tighter as far as the commercial in general. The biggest reason you would want to start an agency is stability. This is an industry proof. There's no, at least from what I've seen, we went through COVID, nothing stopped us there. We just went through a hard market, and to be honest with you, our agency grew. So if you know the marketing plan and you know the customer you're going for, if you can plan those pieces out and budget accordingly, you can still grow in a hard market. There is a lot of potential, and you're almost unbreakable depending on the weather-related claims, the way the economy is working. It's almost like you get a raise automatically when everything goes up. Now, we don't love that because it's more work for us, shopping, doing all the things, and customers upset. Those pieces aren't really our goal, but you get paid more. So there is a little bit of a benefit at the end of the day to all of those issues that happen, but you get to reap the benefits of doing the work. Compare that to any other job. You work twice as hard and you maybe don't get a raise that year because the economy was tough and that job didn't pay correctly. So it is a recession-proof industry, at least from everything I've ever seen. The other positive is insurance isn't a luxury. It's required by everything you do. Everyone I know, or at least most people, have home loans. Home loans require you to have insurance. If you have a car loan, they require you to prove you have insurance. If you own a car, every state just about, and it's something that you have to have. And then when it becomes a luxury and you have all a nicer, expensive home, nicer jewelry, all those things, you're going to want to insure that anyways. So it actually gets better the more luxury it gets, but in general, it's a necessity, not a luxury. Now, the negative is there's high competition. So if you don't know what you're doing going into this industry, you're going to struggle having growth. That's really just the honest truth of it. There's a lot of insurtech companies coming out, all the lemonade wannabes, all of the IT guys that started, it's called an insurtech. They started up a company based around technology. They're scooping up business. Most of it's kind of trash, to be honest with you. And if they don't do it correctly or fix those things, they just sell it. That's their whole goal. They get it a certain size, they sell it, walk away, and that's how those insurtechs usually make their income. But it affects you because they're fighting for your customers. They're being more convenient for, instead of you having to talk and do all of those things, which is a benefit because a lot of the customers that do lean towards that, even though the whole world will eventually lean towards that because of the age of the drivers, as they start to grow into their 20s and 30s and 40s, those are the people that use apps. Those are the people that use technology, that want the ease of use and a little bit of advice. So that need for you is always going to be there. But right now you're fighting with that business with those type of companies. And on top of it, you've got some major companies which you could sell yourself. They sometimes sell on the side against you. So you kind of have a little bit of a competition there with different companies and different types of business that you're trying to go after. Needless to say, essentially, it's a little bit oversaturated in some areas. That's why we're licensed in 10 plus states. We're not saturated in the areas where people are shopping. So we're going where the customers are looking, where we can be the best benefit. If we can connect all the carriers in certain areas where the customers are shopping, where the need is the most, you can provide value for them and help them understand, educate, and insure them, so you have those options as an independent agent to where you can have that available. That's where you're going to overcome a lot of those insurtechs and the other marketing channels to where you're more available than other options are. Now, the positive to that is you can project the growth. You really can get your numbers down to, on average, I'm this good of a salesperson. I know I need to make this many phone calls to make this many sales. I get this many sales per household, and I get this much premium per household. And I have an average retention of this. They stay with me for 5 years. And if you're good at communicating and you're friendly and you're likable, then customers will really trust that you're going to take care of them. And in those incidences, you're going to hold customers longer. If you're not that person, you just know you have to get more customers to grow to a certain level. So planning the business isn't difficult. You're able to scale at the level that you need to scale. Maybe it's hiring other people. There's other pieces that we'll talk about here in just a moment that is a benefit, where you can easily predict what your next steps and levels are. The other pro and con that we have to look at is, what is your earning potential? Mark, I get you're talking, oh, I can grow, I can do all this stuff, but how much will I actually make in this industry? I can tell you for sure, if you've done any type of research in this industry, you know that this insurance industry, whether you're even in health and life, whether you're in Medicare, in P&C, personal lines and property and casualty, all of those, that's a long-term play. You will have a lot more long-term opportunity and growth with this industry more than you will almost any other industry. Remember, this is all about renewals. You're getting income for things you've done previously. Now, there's a little bit of work that comes with that if a customer wants red car to change to blue car and the different questions on billing and things like that. So there's a service aspect to it. But in general, the average sales agent will earn anywhere from $55,000 per year. According to some of the research, they said $89,000 is the average. I don't know if it's that high, but it's always been close to that $55,000 for the average. Your top agents are going to earn over $200,000 per year. So you have income ranging anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000. It just depends on, A, how good are you? How well can you learn? Can you grow in this industry? If you can, it doesn't matter. You just keep doing it. The longer you do it, the better you get at it. The better you get at it, the more income you're going to earn. It's really just tied to how many people's lives you can impact and help them with insurance. Then in that case, you're going to get paid accordingly to that. If you help a lot of people and you grow a book and an agency and all of those things, you're going to earn over that $200,000. Some are even in the $500,000 to $1 million per year. So there are options available where you can grow into something extremely large. Now, that's also the negative, is if you're not good at it at first, but you have the commitment and you're like, this is my industry, this is what I'm going into, 100% agree, I'm gonna get a loan, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna grow, and you don't have the direction, that's where you really need the most help, is the direction, then you're going to struggle succeeding. And by that, I mean, you're not going to have any income. You're going to lose customers. You're going to realize that people don't say the truth half the time. And a lot of people won't buy from you if you don't follow up a certain way. There's all of these processes that you need to have in place that get you to those levels. And that's one of the cons is you almost have to be self-sufficient to where you know how to grow and market to get your business. If you don't have a lot of income or money that you can throw at it, which is another option, buy leads, work leads, but even then, there's a learning curve to that. Those pieces are the cons is if you don't have the availability or you don't have someone that you can work with that will teach you that, you're going to have a lot lower of a success rate than most people will in this industry. If you are looking to work with someone in the industry, I've got a link in the description below. We started a wait list to where we're offering to work with people. It's something we're testing out. So we're offering a few things, 1099s, more of a franchise model if you want to work under our agency, or if you're just looking to work with a cluster, which is what we joined, is a group of people that have appointments and all those things. You can work directly with the company that we work with and just bypass us. It's really just to help you guys learn whatever your next steps are. We're there to help you with. Now, they say 8% is the people that stay. From my experience, it's usually closer to 60% leave. So there's about a 40% retention of employees that are in the industry. Most of the reason people join the industry, which is the biggest positive, is for flexibility. I believe 78 or 80% is the average of people that join the industry because it is a lot more flexible once you've built something. If you're going in as an employee, a little bit less flexible, although there is a lot of flexibility even in our agency. We do a lot of everything we do based on appointments, which means if you're not having to work on a quote, you're not out prospecting, you're not doing all those things, and maybe you do need a longer lunch or you do need some relaxed time, have some coffee or whatever the case is, you have more available time to get up. You can walk around, you can take some available time, and then sometimes you got to take a week off or take a couple days away, and that's available in most of the industry in general, especially if you're going to start it yourself. Now, the other piece that you have to think about is what is the technology? Because really AI is starting to take over everything. Is this something that we're going to be replaced by AI? Possibly a little bit. I'd say about 30% of all of our jobs in 10 years will probably be AI based. I know customer service will be heavily based on AI, but everything that we've seen, things that I've been building, is more geared towards getting you in touch with the actual live person versus just having an AI do that. We're so far away from people trusting AI to help them with a lot of things. Now, there is a lot of trust with ChatGPT and all of those things and all the digital CRMs and all those things that are out there. Don't get me wrong, we actually thrive on ours. We built one, we sell one, we have one, it's Hubly, we love it. It does everything that we need it to do, and it automates most of the things for us. So communicating with the lead that comes in the door, our guys have appointments booked before they even start working on the quote. Having those easy access, quick marketing ideas and tools have been super beneficial. Having customers ask the common questions to an AI is beneficial, but now they can schedule time with you outside of that time to where they can ask more in-depth questions. On top of it, most of the websites are wrong with insurance. So like even the government, Michigan changed the laws years ago, and it took them 2 years to update the rules on their own website. So I remember when I was asking chat all these questions, and it was like completely wrong coverages. And so there's going to be a heavy need for agents 10 years plus, just because the information changes so often and it's so difficult to update that alone is going to make that job more stable for anyone coming into the industry. The con to that is you have to learn the technology. There's tools. We've got Microsoft Outlook in our world. We've got, sometimes I'm doing a PowerPoint, which you don't always have to do, but if you're networking with people, you've got to do a presentation for the networking group. You've got all of these tools. There's different phone systems. You're going to find that you hate half of them out there if you're trying your own on your own, and you're going to find that some leads don't work with this system, some do with that. The form broke. All of the technology is supposed to be beneficial. I'll be honest with you, most of the technology has caused more headaches than has been proven to be successful. That's why we're building our own off of our own process. So we're taking what we know and building our technology around our industry so that we have that available that can help us be more successful. We're essentially doing the heavy lifting on our end to make it easier for anyone that's going forward in this industry. And that's where we talked about 60% of all the service is probably going to go out the window. AI will essentially take over that role. There is a heavy emphasis on how powerful having a service person is, because that talk is probably something I don't think AI is going to be good with anytime soon. If it does, great, but hearing it from a computer doesn't necessarily make it better. Now that I said that, there are several articles. If you start Googling this, you're going to find that most of your big companies, your Nationwide, your State Farm, your Allstates, I don't know if those are exactly the ones, but there are several articles that they are replacing a lot of their service reps, and they're finding that even though it's technology based, they're doing it via text and via email because no one knows that that's not AI. Even if it says AI at the bottom, no one's going to read that line. So they kind of take it. But that AI is a lot more empathetic. When a customer service or a salesperson comes into the job and they're having a bad day, their cousin said something to them mean and they're bad, they had a bad lunch, whatever, they're tired, they're snippety and they might not be kind to a customer. The AI will never do that. So there is a lot more success rate with the technology, and that's probably the only fear that I would have, that it could take a part of the industry out. So if you're in the industry for 5 years and you realize that you're not doing well, then yeah, you might be at risk of losing your entire company, your role, whatever those cases are, to someone that has the AI that can help with that. But more often than not, those people are just going to get you to me, get you to someone that knows what they're doing, that can talk you through on the phone. Or if the AI can help you, then great, we'll have the AI help you as well. One of the best positives of the industry is the connections. You're going to have a lot of connections with carriers, and carriers are just fun to meet with. If you're doing well, they're going over your stats, you're helping them grow. Sometimes they give you marketing dollars and they're really going to trainings and bringing you in, they're teaching your people. All of those things, these marketing channels, these partners want you to grow. Companies like Safeco, companies like Nationwide, companies like Progressive and Geico, they give all of these little benefits, sometimes big benefits, that help you grow as well. And so there's all of these tools that you have available. The con to that is right now it's very difficult to get in with insurance companies. Getting appointments is a lot more difficult than it used to be 5 years ago, because there has been a lot of high risk. There's been a lot of claims in other states that have really hurt certain states. There's been all of these things that have changed, and the profitability hasn't been so great. It's starting to flip, where in 2025, going into 2026, we're going to see a lot better of a growth, and there's going to be a lot more doors that open up. But right now, there's still some companies that you can't have access to. Because of that, you have to work with some sort of management company, and even then, they can't guarantee that they'll give you access to that carrier. That's one of the things you want to research. Again, there's some videos on here that teach you how to do those appointments, how to do them yourself if you're interested. I'm actually looking at possibly, let me know in the comments below. Full of ideas, but one of my major ideas is I want to try to schedule time where I'm probably going to offer maybe 5 hours a week to where I can do calls with people and do trainings. It's going to be a service. The other one is maybe I actually have a team, because we have people that I know that are really good at getting appointments that can do the appointment setting for you. So you give them your plan, give them your idea, they'll sit down with you for an hour, they'll map out what your agency should look like, and then they help you get those appointments and file those directly for you on your behalf. Not sure if that'd be something anyone's interested in. Let me know in the comments below if that would be a benefit to you or the industry. Once you've got your appointments, it's smooth sailing. If you have 5 carriers or more, honestly, if you really have 1, if you have 2 really good carriers and you're competitive, just go. Grow that book. Show that it's profitable. Try to get the business that doesn't have a lot of claims, which is hard because you can't predict that. But if you can do that, that gives you more leeway to get more appointments. That's also the con as well, because the carriers are tighter. The underwriting guidelines are a little bit tighter right now. They still haven't fully turned the boat around to where they're like, okay, let's go back and get all this business. Most of the carriers have opened up, I'd say 80% of what they used to do. They are tighter on roofs, they're bigger deductibles. They're trying to make sure that the risk or the losses that they had in the last 3 years aren't going to happen in the next 3 years. The prices have gone up. We've seen anywhere from 15 to 30% increases across the last 3 years. And if you're an agency owner, let us know in the comments below how you guys fared, but that caused more work. There's a lot more shopping, there's a lot more conversations, which you should be having anyways, but that's one of the pieces that you need to know going into this market. That gives you another positive, which is the demand is there. People, again, need insurance. They always will need some type of insurance. And for you, if you can focus on being the expert in whatever field you choose, whether it's being the boat expert, being the mobile home expert, being the home and auto expert, being the commercial trucking expert, if you pick that niche and you get labeled that, you can be the powerful person in that industry in the areas that you want to be in. That's where the referrals come in. That's where all the business comes in. You find the carriers that are best. You don't have to think about 1,000 things. Am I selling life insurance? Am I selling health insurance? Just work with people that do that. Don't overcomplicate the industry, especially if you're new. If you're new, take what's there, the positive, take the demand, and work towards it to grow your book of business. When you do that, you're going to have high retention, and that's where the industry thrives for most agency owners. The con to that is now we have a lot of churn. There's a lot of employees that leave. There's a lot of customers that leave. The person that you thought was all about value was really about price. And when that policy renewed at $20 more, they left you. They didn't ask you any questions. They didn't want you to reshop it. They forgot who you were, and they just moved on, right? So that's going to happen. You're going to have at least 10%, if not up to 30% of all of your customers that just go somewhere else. That's just part of the game because there's other people marketing to them. There's other commercials all over. You got Patrick Mahomes throwing the football, Mahomes in my auto, like all of those things are pieces that you have to worry about at the back end. And just in case you were curious, that wasn't a number I popped out of my head. The average, according to an article that I read, 84% of churn rates vary by sector. So it says that the auto, you typically see about a 30% retention loss. That's pretty common. There are really good agencies that have been around for 10, 15 years that really have weeded out some of the customers they shouldn't have written in the past. And then they've really worked on the future of where they're growing. They're usually seeing close to 90%, if not 95, 99% retention, because it's the customer that is the fit for their agency. And those are the ones that you're working towards. It might take you 20 years to get there, but having 70%, 80%, 90% retention while you're getting there, trust me, it's going to be okay. And that's also why the industry is a good and a bad. There's actually a pro and a con in this exact same scenario. The customers have the control. They can switch from you, they can join you. It's really up to them. If you're not a benefit to the customer, then there's no reason for them to be with you. For those of you that are new and you're just thinking, should I even start this industry? The largest piece is to start with compliance and start with your licensing. That's going to be the more complicated part, is just getting that license and getting through all of those questions. It's a very complicated process. Simple to do, but very confusing. I took the wrong test twice and I passed both of them. And so I have a license for something I don't even know I have. But understanding, am I just doing personal lines, which you probably should never do. But if you're only going to sell home and auto, there you go. Should I do P&C, property and casualty? When you go on those websites and you're trying to get those tests and you're going through that 60-day process of learning the industry, what are the rules? How many days does the person have to cancel? What does the commissioner do? All of those things that you need to know about the industry, which are beneficial. I used to mock them and say we'll never use them, which you probably won't, but it's good to know some of those pieces for customers. As you talk and show your knowledge, customers are going to trust you more. That part is very difficult to go through, but also rewarding once you've gotten through it. So getting your license, if you're not licensed, is going to be the larger struggle you'll have, at least starting off in the industry. On top of that, you have license renewals. So you have what's called CE credits, and that's renewing your license every 2 years in our state. We have to retake a test. And it's a simple test. So you kind of learn different parts of the industry. You take a test on it. You have to take an ethics course. There's all of these like 30, 40 hours of work that you have to put in every few years to essentially show that you're still a good agent that needs to be in the industry. Cost-wise, you're not going to pay a ton. It's $50 to $300. I think I paid $400 and I did the online with the videos, and there's all of these extras you can purchase. Probably the only thing I would say do purchase, I didn't, but I probably wish I would have, is there's little cards that you can buy that have questions and you flip them over, they have the answers on them. That's probably the best. If you have a friend that can quiz you constantly, you can really just test your knowledge with what you're learning. That's probably the main thing I would do over doing the videos. If you can go to a live course, there's usually Google the live CE credits or live licensing. There's courses that you can take over a weekend or sometimes even over a couple of weeks to get licensed. If it's something that you need some help with, don't worry if you're taking that test 3 or 4 times. It's common. People fail that test constantly. It's just getting the license initially to where you need to have it. And I know this video is really long. I wanted to go in depth on this subject because this is going to be the main video that just about everybody needs to have. The marketing piece is there's a lot of pros and cons there. So if you're the agency owner and you're growing and you're not working with someone, but you know what you're doing, let's just say you're ready to go, there is a lot of referrals. You've got to kind of decide what's best for you if you're going to market or if you're going to market yourself, right? So market, what I mean is you're going to pay for leads. You're going to do social media content. You're going to put yourself out there, make videos, all of those things like we're doing now. Or are you going to go out and go to BNI groups? That's business networking. I don't know what the I is for. Industry. Or you're going to a networking event, right? You're trying to meet people. You're going to Chamber of Commerce. You're talking with other business owners that need referrals and you want referrals. So it's kind of everyone saying we need to work businesses together. You're trying to meet mortgage brokers. You're trying to meet all these people that can benefit from you and you benefit from them to where you're going to get that business. There are better ways to do this. And I'll link the video at the end that actually goes over this specific scenario of what type of marketing you should be looking at based on what your personality is. You have to learn cold calling. If you're not gonna pick up the phone and call a customer, that's it. Like, don't even shut the video off now. You're not gonna make it. Are you gonna have customers come in the door? 99% of all of our customers are over the phone. The con to that is time investment or money investment. No matter what you're doing, you're investing into a business. This isn't a get a license and people start calling me, I'm gonna sell friends and family. There's really what I call a 90-day window of where you'll do really well for 90 days and then you have nothing left. There's no money coming in. You gotta wait another year to get paid on the one you wrote 3 months ago. So there's all of these things that you have to think about. But if you don't have a marketing plan in place or you don't work with a company that is helping you learn how to market, you're really just not gonna make it. And yes, you do need to call some of these customers 5, 6, 7 times. It's not that they're not wanting to do insurance with you. People are busy. I think it's the top 5 most hated things in the world or in the US. So it's not something that people necessarily want to focus on. You'd be surprised, even though it's about 5% of their income, the impact that insurance has, at least mentally, is huge. People think that $5 a month is the end of the world when it comes to insurance, but they'll go out and buy a $5 coffee every single day. So there's like priorities, and you're gonna find that it's not as much of a priority to some people getting the insurance policy switched and moved and signed and all of those pieces. It's really just more of whether it fits what they're looking for at the time. That means you may have to follow up multiple times to get the one customer. It might even be mom. Mom and dad might just be dragging their feet. But those are things you're gonna learn as you grow. Those are some of those con pieces that you have to learn when you're getting in this industry. The last section I wanna talk about is income, and income is where everything's at. When you have what we call a book of business, that's all of your clients in the book, as we call it. It's in your software. It's our CRM, AMS, whatever you want to name the thing. It's ours is Ian, right? So you have what you've written, and that's a pro and a con. So the pro is you're going to build a book of customers that will pay you renewals for your service that you might not even have to do a lot of work to retain, or you might have a service department that helps you retain that. But then that's also about 75% of your income. As you start to grow, you're going to find that your time is going to shift from finding new clients and working with new clients to slowly more working with the current clients and trying to slow the churn down, trying to keep that retention high. And as that happens, you're going to find that 75% of your income is going to be based on renewals. Getting good at that part is the pro and the con in one, to where you have to have some sort of growth plan to get you to those levels. To answer the question, is it the right time to start an industry? Yes, 100%. It is the best time in my opinion because a lot of people are shopping. Policies have just gone up in renewals. They're still going up in renewals, but a lot of companies have already raised the renewals. So if you can get carrier appointments quickly and you can start marketing to people in the industry that are shopping, there's way more shoppers right now, and more of our independent agents are way more competitive to what policies were before. I've noticed that companies are starting to flip back and forth between who's the most competitive, and you're going to have the customers that just keep the policy because they don't want to do all the things and re-sign it and have someone come look at their house again and all of those things. They'd rather pay the extra $200 a year to keep that policy going. Other customers will want to leave other companies to you and join. So there's a lot of growth that's happening in the industry, and there's a lot of technology. It's really, really cool if you know what you're doing with it and you have somebody that understands it, because it's the worst it's ever going to be. And it's pretty darn good. I honestly think that if we just stopped all the technology growth now, we've got enough. There's enough for us to grow in this industry to where a ton of clients, there's a lot of opportunity. They're starting to open up with carriers. Companies are opening up certain states where they want more business and there's a ton of premium. Restrictions are starting to loosen up on underwriting. There's essentially a good period of time. We're probably going to have the next decade to where this insurance industry is going to just explode. The growth pattern is there. All of the articles, if you're going to read about them, are talking about what the expected growth plan is going to be. For you as the agent, you have the opportunity to come into the industry and grow with it. Again, if you are looking to work with companies, I'll put the link in the description below on the wait list. Don't forget to let me know if you think that those two things we mentioned earlier are going to be beneficial, or if we hire someone or get a team and put someone together that can help you get appointments, if that's beneficial. Also, let me know what it would be worth to you guys, because something new, I'm thinking about it. Also, if it's something that is worth your time. I don't have a ton of time. There's a few hours left in the week where I'm thinking of allowing you guys to take up those hours. Let me know what your thoughts are. The video that we talked about, if you're looking to start an agency, is right here. If you're trying to get carrier appointments and you're looking for that piece that we mentioned earlier, go ahead and check that video out next. I'm Mark W. Flockhart. I'll see you soon.